In a quiet summer, two sisters moved to a new house in the countryside with their father. The older sister was named Satsuki, and the younger sister was named Mei. They sat in the back of a truck, looking at the green fields, forests, and blue sky along the way. A gentle wind blew past them, and the air smelled like soil and fresh grass. "Are we almost at our new home?" Mei asked excitedly. "Almost there," their father answered with a smile. Soon an old house appeared in front of them. The house looked a little worn out. The wooden walls had faded over time, and the windows made soft noises in the wind. Wild grass filled the yard, and there was a large forest nearby. "Wow," Satsuki said happily. "This looks like a house from a storybook." Mei immediately jumped off the truck and ran toward the house. She pushed open the door, and dust floated slowly through the sunlight. "It's huge!" she shouted loudly. The two sisters happily ran from room to room. Even though the house was old, they thought it was very interesting. The stairs creaked when they walked on them, and the wind blew gently through the windows, making the white curtains move softly. Suddenly, Mei stopped moving. "Satsuki, look!" A small black thing quickly ran across the floor. Then many more little black balls rushed into the corners and disappeared. Satsuki jumped in surprise. What was that? At that moment, an old woman from nearby slowly walked into the house. "Oh, those are soot sprites," the old woman said with a smile. "Little creatures like that often live in old houses." "Are they scary?" Mei asked. "No," the old woman shook her head. "If a house is filled with laughter, they will leave." After hearing that, the two sisters felt much better. That night, the wind blew through the forest, and the house became very quiet. Mei felt a little afraid, so she held tightly onto her sister. "This place feels very different from the city at night," she whispered softly. Satsuki gently patted her. "It's okay, I'm here." Their mother was sick and staying in the hospital. That was why their father had brought them to the countryside, so they could live closer to the hospital. Even though their mother was not with them, their father always tried his best to make the two girls happy. One day, their father rode his bicycle and took them to visit their mother. The sunlight shined brightly on the road, and the green rice fields moved gently like waves in the ocean. When their mother saw them, she smiled warmly. "Do you like your new house?" she asked. "Yes," Mei answered immediately. "There are strange little black balls there." Both their mother and father laughed. "Well, that sounds like a very interesting house," their mother said. A few days later, Mei was playing alone in the yard. Suddenly, she saw a strange little creature. It was white and round, with tiny ears. It did not look like a cat or a rabbit. Mei opened her eyes wide. "Who are you?" As soon as the little creature saw Mei, it quickly turned around and ran away. "Wait for me!" Mei immediately chased after it. The creature ran across the grass and disappeared into the forest. Mei followed it closely and completely forgot about time. Soon she saw another creature that was slightly bigger and blue. The creatures carried acorns in their hands and looked very secretive. May thought they were very interesting. "Where do you live?" The two little creatures ran toward an enormous tree and suddenly disappeared. May lowered her head and noticed a hole beneath the roots of the tree. Slowly, she crawled inside. It was dark in there, but she was not afraid at all. She kept crawling forward until she suddenly slipped. Ah! The next second, she fell into a giant hollow tree. The place was very quiet and cool. Right in the middle of the tree, a huge gray creature was sleeping peacefully. It had a round belly, long whiskers, and a giant furry body. Every time it breathed, its belly slowly moved up and down. May stared at it in complete amazement. So big! The creature slowly opened its eyes and looked at her. Then it made a deep sound. Totoro. May softly repeated the name. She did not know why, but she felt that the name suited the creature perfectly. Totoro did not speak. It only looked quietly at her. May was not afraid at all. Slowly, she climbed onto Totoro's soft belly. It felt as comfortable as a bed. Before long, May fell asleep. Later, Satsuki and their father finally found her. As soon as May woke up, she excitedly told them everything. "I met Totoro. He's huge, and he lives inside the giant tree." Satsuki looked a little doubtful. "Really? Really?" But their father did not laugh at her. He simply listened quietly. "Maybe you met the guardian of the forest," he said. May happily nodded her head. The next day, Satsuki went with May to search for the giant tree. However, even after looking for a long time, they could no longer find the hole. May looked so upset that she almost cried. "It was really here." Satsuki gently held her little sister's hand. "It's okay, I believe you." Time slowly passed. One evening, heavy rains suddenly began to fall from the sky. Satsuki and May stood together at the bus stop, waiting for their father to come home. May was already so sleepy that she could barely keep her eyes open. Raindrops kept falling onto the ground with soft tapping sounds. Suddenly, they heard heavy footsteps behind them. Thump. Satsuki slowly turned around. Totoro was standing there. Its huge body was wet from the rain. Its huge body almost filled the whole bus stop. May smiled happily. "Totoro!" Totoro lowered his head and looked curiously at the umbrella in their hands. Satsuki hesitated for a moment, then handed the umbrella to Totoro. Totoro took the umbrella. At that exact moment, a huge drop of water fell from a tree branch above them. Plop! Totoro jumped in surprise and then laughed happily. It seemed to discover for the first time that umbrellas could be fun. Not long after that, two bright lights suddenly appeared in the distance. A strange vehicle slowly came toward them. It was not a normal bus. It had the body of a cat and giant shining eyes. When the doors opened, Totoro stepped inside. Before leaving, Totoro handed a small bundle to Satsuki. Then the cat bus quickly disappeared into the dark night. The two girls were so surprised that they could not say a single word. After returning home, they opened Totoro's gift. Inside the bundle were many seeds. "Let's plant them," May said excitedly. The next day, they dug holes in the yard and planted the seeds. Then they watered them carefully every day. But after many days passed, nothing happened. May became a little disappointed. Maybe they're never going to grow. That night, strange sounds suddenly came from outside the window. The two sisters secretly looked outside. Under the moonlight, Totoro and the two smaller Totoros were standing in the yard. They began dancing around the planted seeds. Satsuki and May ran outside and joined the dance. The wind became stronger and stronger. The leaves shook loudly. Suddenly, the ground began to tremble. The seeds started to sprout. Tiny green shoots quickly grew taller. Only seconds later, a giant tree shot high into the sky. The two girls looked up in complete shock. Totoro laughed loudly and happily. Then it took them flying into the night sky. The wind rushed past their ears. The forests, rivers, and fields below them became smaller and smaller. May shouted happily, "We're flying!" It was a night that felt like a dream. The next morning, the two sisters ran into the yard. The giant tree had disappeared, but small green sprouts were truly growing from the ground. The sisters looked at each other. Maybe it had not been a dream after all. Summer slowly passed. One day, bad news arrived from the hospital. Their mother still could not come home yet. Although Satsuki tried hard to stay calm, she felt very sad inside. May did not fully understand. Why can't Mommy come home yet? Finally, Satsuki lost her temper. Because Mom isn't better yet. May became frightened. She lowered her head sadly. Later, she secretly left home while carrying an ear of corn. She wanted to give the corn to her mother. But little May became lost in the countryside. The sky slowly grew darker. Everyone began searching for her everywhere. Satsuki became more and more worried. "May! May!" But nobody answered. Finally, Satsuki ran to the giant tree in the forest. "Totoro," she whispered softly, "please help me." Not long afterward, Totoro appeared. After quietly listening to her story, it immediately called the cat bus. The cat bus quickly arrived in front of them. On the front of the bus was written one word, May. Satsuki immediately jumped inside. The cat bus raced through forests, fields, and darkness as fast as the wind. At last they found May. She was sitting alone beside the road, her eyes red from crying. Satsuki immediately hugged her tightly. "I'm sorry," she whispered softly. May hugged her sister tightly as well. Later, the cat bus brought the two girls near the hospital. Quietly, they looked at their mother through the window. Their mother was talking with their father, and her face looked much healthier than before. Finally, the two girls felt relieved. May gently placed the corn beside the window. Written on it were the words, "For Mommy." The night wind softly blew through the forest. Far away, the giant tree stood silently in the darkness. Maybe Totoro was still living deep inside the forest. And maybe, when children truly believe in miracles, they can meet him again.